to the experience of relaxing as you relax different parts of your body. And then settling into your breathing. And the rhythm of breathing can be used to bring attention to awareness itself. Attention to breathing helps us to be aware of awareness. And if there's any strain or tension in your attention, as you exhale, relax the strain. It might be helpful to have a sense of receiving the inhale, receiving it into awareness. In what way can attention be calm and peaceful? Perhaps allowing the thinking mind to become quieter and calmer. As if you're going to discover something new in the experience of breathing. Curious, interested. It's not that you have to discover something new. You might. Feel the attention that's used for that exploration. would you enter into awareness, into attention? So all there is, or almost all there is breathing and attention to breathing. Attention, awareness of breathing, and breathing. What would that awareness be like? And be content to discover that in short moments, coming back again and again to discover a new way, a clearer way of receiving the experience of breathing. What is the quality of your attention now? And as I bring your attention to awareness, can you take a few moments to sit here with relaxed, open awareness, a receptive awareness, or if it's available, sensitive to a clarity of attention. Then I'm going to say a few words, concepts, and see if as I say the words, maybe with associations you have with them, see how that changes the quality of your attention, of your awareness. Love. Hate. Generosity. Greed. Wisdom. Delusion. Confidence. Anxiety. In a sense, awareness is the medium through which these different states operate. And they can have a big impact on how we're aware, the nature of attention. But to appreciate that awareness is the medium, and to use that medium for the welfare and happiness of oneself and others. And as we come to the end of the sitting, consider how being aware and attentive is a means, support for love and goodwill. For generosity and care. And may we stay close to our capacity for attention, so that attention itself is the byway, the highway, the means, the path, the medium for how we care for this world. In being attentive, may we contribute to the happiness of others, the safety of others, the peace of others, and to the freedom. May all beings be happy. So, here we are, the second talk, focusing on the Buddha's teachings, instructions on mindfulness practice. And it was a surprise many years ago when, happily, eagerly, I picked up the text. I'd read it before, but I picked up the text, and I really wanted to discover what did the Buddha actually have to say about mindfulness? What did he actually say about practicing mindfulness? And the Pali word is sati, S-A-T-I. And I went to this text. And as I went through it, I was surprised, actually a little shocked, that how little he actually says about mindfulness. The title of the text is The Four Foundations for Mindfulness. And so I thought for sure there would be lots of references to this word, sati, mindfulness. And there, surprisingly, there is very little. There's a little bit in the introduction about mindfulness, just a statement about it. One is mindful, clearly aware, and ardent. So one should practice, and here mindful is an adjective. It's not a verb in the way it's used. And then, as I said yesterday morning, there was a section beginning. It says, going to a forest, root of a tree, empty building, sitting cross-legged, body upright, and establishing mindfulness to the forefront. The rest of the long text that we have, the word mindfulness doesn't appear until maybe the very end again, a kind of a conclusion. And all the exercises, all the instructions of what to do do not have the word mindfulness in them. So that was a little bit surprised. I thought, what does this mean? And as I started looking through the texts of the Buddha, there's nothing that in his teachings that would be comparable to the English expression, be mindful. Like my mother might tell me, be mindful, Gil, when I was growing up. And where the mindful is used as a verb, an activity that you would do mindfulness. And so this sati, whatever sati is, that was translated as mindfulness, was not being something that we do, and but rather something that we establish And if I went through the different teachings of the Buddha, I saw that sati was associated with the verbs to abide in, to establish, to cultivate. So if a farmer cultivates a plant, the farmer's not doing the growing. The farmer is creating the conditions the plant can grow. If we abide in, dwell in something, I love the expression abiding, because for me it's just kind of a peaceful way of just kind of just there, and like at home in some place, and it's where you're supposed to be, kind of. And to abide in sati, in mindfulness, is kind of to rest in it. And I once used a photograph or a slide of a big whale floating kind of peacefully in the ocean, an underwater photograph of this big whale, as abiding in, for this abiding in sati and awareness. And so this sati is not associated with an activity of doing. It's more like a state of being aware. So, how am I supposed to do it? What's the activity? So then if you go look at this text that we're going to study over these next weeks, the actual activities, the practices that we do are not practices, maybe it could be called mindfulness practices, in the sense that they are there to cultivate, to establish, to grow mindfulness, so we can abide in it. And so the instructions, the verbs of things that we're doing, are the first thing that's talked about is to know. To know that one is breathing. To know one is breathing long when one is breathing a long breath, short when it's a short breath. And then there's later on there's instructions to clearly recognize what's happening. So it's a little bit of higher, more order of mental activity to recognize something. And I'll talk more about that later. The text also talks about observing. And then it talks about something that has the word sati in it, but it's a compound called pati sati. And this is lucid awareness. So I like to translate sati as awareness rather than mindfulness. Partly because we have this, wave of the mindfulness movement going through the modern world, and the meanings and definitions of what mindfulness is these days is very much influenced by how it's taught in that movement. Nothing wrong with how it's taught, but they use the word mindfulness differently than how the Buddha uses it. In that, for the Buddha, this word sati is a state that we can abide in, establish, cultivate, grow. It's not an activity that we do. And but the activity we do is this knowing. And so, but knowing, we don't want to do a meditation practice that feels like a lot of work and it makes us busy, exactly. But the knowing is a wonderful special quality, to know something. And it doesn't have to be so, cognitive or so, thoughtful, a lot of thought involved. If I'm sitting talking with a friend, and where I'm engaged, fully absorbed in the conversation, and my attention is there for sure, and then I put my glasses down, and then I continue talking, and then I get up to go to the bathroom and get some tea and come back. And then I say, well, where's my glasses? And I have no idea, even though 5 minutes before I might have put them down. But I put them down without clearly knowing I was putting them down, or clearly present for the experience of putting them down. And this idea of being present enough to let the experience, what we're doing, register enough so that it can stay a little bit in our memory. And that's one of the meanings. Before the Buddha, the word for sati had associations with memory. And it's the kind of receptivity, attention that's required for us to kind of remember something later, like just where my glasses are. It isn't like we're memorizing, which is even a higher order of mental activity, but there's a kind of like, I like the expression, we stop to know, we pause to know, we engage knowingly with what we're doing. So we're present for what we're doing. So we maybe do one thing at a time, we're really there present for it. And in that presence, there's a heightened kind of knowing, recognition, heightened kind of attentiveness to the experience. As that heightened attention, kind of knowing operates, it then supports the cultivation, the growing of awareness. Awareness follows in the wake of the practice of knowing. And it's meant to be a peaceful practice, so it begins with just knowing the breathing. And it's such a powerful practice to mindfulness of breathing. It's not suitable for everyone, so it's fine to do other things. But it's a wonderful thing to acquire, the ability to get focused, centered on the breathing, concentrate on the breathing, to learn to gather the mind together so that when we're with the experience of breathing, we're not scattered and distracted. We're just there with that, as if we're present to know it well. Almost as if the kind of attention we bring to, if we were going to look at something we've looked at for a long, long time, we've passed it by, we've been with it, and they said, let me just stop and look to discover something new in it that you've never noticed before. And not straining to know or discover, but just a relaxed kind of glancing at it, looking at it, roaming around the thing. Oh, look at that. I never noticed that before about it. And so it requires a kind of knowing that registers something more deeply. So we could, in a sense, then remember it. I'm spending a lot of time now with my mother, who has kind of advanced dementia, and we can have wonderful exchanges back and forth and very clear in the moment, but her memory lasts probably 30 seconds. And so I'll say something and she'll come back with a wonderful reply. And then I could ask, 10 seconds later, I could ask the same question, and she would come back with the same or different reply. She doesn't remember I said it. And so for her, nothing sticks. There's a clarity to her, but the attention, something about the attentiveness is not all there, that it kind of has a place to register or stay or stick. I don't really understand how dementia works so well, but whether I'm accurate exactly with this is not so important. What I'm trying to convey to you, that this idea of the specialness of knowing, that to attend to so that we know it's something in a deeper way. And but without it being heavily cognitive or investigatory or questioning or thought-filled kind of exploration, just very simple. So that as we know the breathing and get it kind of more and more centered and present for just the breathing, we know it more and more, clearer and clearer. But the mind also gets quieter and more peaceful, calmer. The difference between a concentration practice and mindfulness practice is that in concentration practice, we're getting absorbed in the breathing. In mindfulness practice, when just do concentration. In mindfulness practice, if we're getting absorbed in the knowing, in the clarity of awareness that takes in the experience. And so we're more available in mindfulness to register the details, the fullness, the richness of an experience, how it changes over time, than we are often if we just do concentration practice, where we're just trying to hold the mind still in a certain kind of way, rather than letting the experience become richer in the knowing mind. So sati is awareness, and tomorrow I'll talk a little bit about how these exercises of knowing and recognition and observation leads to a heightened awareness. And this path, this journey to heightened awareness is the trajectory, is the journey of Satipatthana, of the foundations for awareness. And in the meantime, maybe you'll explore the nature of your awareness, of your attention, of your knowing, all these faculties of attentiveness that we have. And for today, especially notice your faculty of knowing, to the simplest knowing, the kind of knowing that if you really let it register something, you would remember where you put your glasses, where you put your keys. Just that simple. So, so thank you, and I look forward to tomorrow. And tomorrow, when you greet, if those of you who are connected to the chat and would like to do the good mornings or the greetings, I would love to see the greetings in your native language. And so many of you, English is your native language, but of all the different places in the world, it'd be lovely to have kind of a gathering of the globe and through the languages. So, thank you.